Is this franchise screwed, to put it lightly? Potentially. And some of you, judging by the comment section of the last episode, seem to think so, and perhaps justifiably so. I mean, it's tough to say whether or not this team is actually going to be able to be overly competitive. As you get a look at the roster right now, obviously, there are some concerns, I would say, surrounding this team. And again, whether or not this team's actually going to be good enough, especially with that goaltending, I'm not so sure myself. But at the end of the day, again, with this series, there's no set plan, which is a phrase that we use in regards to my streaming schedule often, and how, what we play and when. Twitch.tv/Tookie24, by the way. That said, we have some things to attend to here before we get down to business, though. What we do here can change. This changed. Initially, this series was going to be, I never get control of the team. Or then it turned into, okay, we're going to alternate. And then it turned into this. It's been a constantly evolving series. So maybe there's another evolution to it. But I at least want to see what's going to happen this year. Because it's a friggin' weird team, man. That's the only way to put it. Didn't mean to back out there. That said, in the last episode, I asked you guys whether or not you thought I should be allowed to sign some players to help fill out the roster. The response to that was yes. So we are going to look at signing some players here to help fill this out. We have 1, 2 AHLers. Jesus. So yeah, we need to sign some players to help fill out this roster. So let's do that. Now, there was the debate over whether or not I should be allowed to sign higher level players, but the problem is there's really not anybody that's higher level. I mean, yeah, I'm probably going to sign Caden Primo here, and we'll either go for Villalta or Gibson, just because it makes sense. There was some discussion as to whether or not I should even be allowed to sign someone like Braden Meyer. I got to be honest, I probably will. Maybe. I don't know. There was the debate of is there a cutoff age? Problem is, Meyer, is he really going to play? I don't know. Should I be allowed to sign this guy? Because some people are like, yeah, sign whoever. Other people are like, okay, just make sure that they can't develop. And then there are other people who are like, no, don't sign anybody at all. You're screwed. Which you might not be wrong. Oh, boy. Who are the veterans on this team as well? Koskinen, Holtby. Oh, boy. Okay, you know what? Screw it. Let's sign some vets. Let's just sign some veterans. Mikko Koskinen, welcome aboard. Hopefully. Braden Holtby, we'll sign you for the year as well. Defensively, in the AHL, we're going to go for veterans again. So we have Travis Hamonic, who is going to be our third defenseman. Trevor Van Riemsdyk will be our fourth. Oliver Ekman-Larsson will be number 5. He's actually on a one-way deal. Josh Manson will be the 6th. Patrick Nemeth will be the 7th down in the AHL. We could use 1 or 2 more. Let's go for Mark Pysyk, even though, he could be a right winger. And actually, in updating the rosters, I have changed him to a right winger, so he won't be a defenseman. And whatever the next series is that we do, and I don't think we're going to need to sign anybody where Justin Hall is, but I'm still going to, because why not? Let's bring Justin Hall back to the Blackhawks. And then forward-wise, we'll solve that in a minute, because, again, we still have a lot to sort out. This team isn't exactly... I mean, the NHL team is pretty much set. I still have some player types I need to change and everything. But for the most part, that is what it is. As we are trading Joel Edmondson. That didn't take long. And 2 third-round picks for a prospect named Dubnyk. The Dubnyk. He is okay. 74 overall at 20 years old. That's not that bad. That's not that bad at all. We can make that work, I would say. That's not too bad at all. Okay, well, there you go. Joel Edmondson turns into that, so thank you very much. Now, it's not going to tell me when these players signed, so that's a little bit of a problem. But, yeah, case in point, there you go. So let's bump up Travis Hamonic for the moment. So we have 7 here, and then down in the AHL, how many do we actually have that aren't just in junior? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it would be 7 and 8. Okay. I mean, we could... Yeah, we're pretty much good. I mean, we could sign one more guy if we had to. And then goaltenders, we have our numbers. Good. So then forwards, I just need to sign as many forwards as possible. I mean, in theory, I could hold off on signing as many forwards as possible, because then that could leave some room for waiver claims. But, yeah. Hey, that freed up quite a bit of cap space. I'll give Mike credit for that. Let's go back to the vets here, though. Now, we know that we have more open contract spots than it's actually showing because of the exempt contracts. Is this Tyler Johnson? Oof. He fell off a cliff, didn't he? Zach Cassian, sign you up. Andrew Shaw. Let's see if we can bring you back to Chicago after all this time. Tim Schaller. This is pretty much going to be first come, first serve in terms of whoever actually signs with us. Jordan Martinuk. Sorry to Turner Elson, but not interested. Kalle Järnkrok or Joachim Nordstrom. The Nordstrom. How many other 35-year-olds? Brandon Tanev. Why not? Wow, Thomas Nosek fell off a cliff. For someone who I really enjoyed having on our fourth line, he fell off of 2 cliffs. He fell off a cliff, landed on a plateau, and turned out it wasn't actually a plateau, and he fell off another cliff. He landed on a ledge. Oh, boy. All right, so there we go. We'll see. First come, first serve to help fill out the roster, and we'll see what we're dealing with. It's not going to be good. I can tell you that much. And it's amazing that he managed to trade away people as quickly as he did. So we'll stop the sim, and let's see what this team is actually going to look like, shall we? So it is going to be Holtby getting called up. Koskinen's probably going to be a healthy scratch because I need Enlund to get started. Enlund's not even good. He's not even going to develop. Vince Shen is actually going to be the backup. Per Enlund, I guess we can start him. He's not going to be that much worse than Koskinen, but that's a rough situation. Defensively, I think we're good. Yep, we're good. Good is a relative term, though. Keep that in mind. It's 10, 11, 12. I still think, aside from dropping Strombo for Andrew Shaw, that NHL roster's set. I can go with some player type changes, and I probably will. But yeah, for the most part, we're pretty much set. So healthy scratches, Holtby, Hamonic, and Shaw, which is pretty much perfect. So again, defensively, again, Dylan's actually not going to get that much better. But Clark, Boqvist, both really need to be... Brant Clark has to be an offensive defenseman at this point, as does Boqvist. You could argue Dylan should be too. And then there's an argument for Nielsen, but the offensive awareness really does kind of drag him down. So I think I'm going to roll 2 offensive defensemen. And then for a defensive defenseman, we're going to have Gilbert and probably Manel. So I'm thinking it's going to be Dylan and Nielsen as a pairing. They're both going to be 2-ways. Okay, you two are going to be 2-ways, right? You're going to be 2-ways. I can't believe this is happening. But Dennis Gilbert's going to be on the top pairing with Brant Clark. And Brennan Manel is going to be a defensive defenseman with Adam Boqvist. We're going to try like hell to make that work. And then forward-wise, I have no idea. Apparently T-Ply is on the team. I could actually potentially send him down. We could just use Shaw instead. I don't know who else we'd potentially call up. Even if I go best lines here. I mean, Tanev, Coyle, Cassian are slightly better. I actually am going to make that change here. I think T-Ply is going to be sent down. T-Ply, call him what you will. But I think we're going to send him down. So again, it's 10, 11, 12 with Shaw. Let's go for... How good's Kalle Järnkrok at this point? How good is Kalle Järnkrok? He could be a 2-way if we needed him to be. I need to see if we need a 2-way or a grinder for that bottom 6. So it's going to be Niebeck as a 2-way. Obviously, he's way too good offensively. Zacharias is going to be rocking as a 2-way. Sampo Ranta. He's more of an offensive option. I might send down Ranta. I know he's a 79. Kaspic can be a grinder, for sure. Fast as hell. Latunov can be a grinder. Okay, so Ranta is going to get dropped. maybe. He could be a two-way, if need be. Just not a very good one. So let me see who we have here. This team is, it's going to be interesting to see how good or bad this team is. And then how quickly Mike screws it up. So let's say I send down Ranta and I send down Teplai. Yarncroak could be the two-way that I have a little bit better of a vision for. He's a really good fit for that second line, but he should still be okay. And then we're probably looking at either Tyler Pitlick, Charlie Coyle, Brandon Tanev. Even Zach Cassian's physicality's dropped off. Let's give Tyler Pitlick a chance. We're going to go with Yarncroak and Pitlick. Say what you want about me signing players, but it's not as if these guys are going to be major players for us at the end of the day. So we'll go best lines. It actually puts in Shaw. You know what? Screw it. Shaw will be on the fourth line. This is pretty much going to be the team right here. As crazy as that is, this is pretty much what we're looking at. So Metropolitan, Doc, and Point. I mean, power forward, playmaker. We need Eakin and DeBrincat to be on different lines, I think. Yeah. I hate to say it for DeBrincat, but you are probably going down a line. Maybe. Or we can do that. That works. Is Eakin a better center or is Doc? Doc is by far. He has 95. So Metropolitan, Doc, Eakin, Strome, DeBrincat, Point. That can just stay as is. So we're going to make a quick little jump cut here because I'm going to optimize this roster and we'll see what we end up with. All right, it took a little bit. This team is still a nightmare, but here you go. Your final look at least how we've set up this team, depending on how many crazy changes Mike makes. Ultimately, it might not survive. But again, Metropolitan, Doc, Eakin, Strome, Point, DeBrincat, Neely. I was going to say Niebeck and Neely. And it came on Neely. Niebeck, Calle Yarncroak, and Michael Zacharias, Latunov, Kaspick, and Andrew Shaw. The defense can't exactly be set up as I would have preferred. Ultimately, I actually do want to change this around a little bit more and see what we can do here because unfortunately certain pairs on that third pairing just simply don't work. Let's go Gilbert, Clark, Dillon, Nielsen, Boqvist, Manel. Of course, power play time is a big difference maker. The goaltender is Daniil Tarasov. Let's see how this team does. Because ultimately, how this team does, what Mike does moving forward, all of it is going to add up to how we approach the next season, or perhaps two, depending on how long it takes me to get through the remaining bit of roster editing that I need to do, which, again, it's going to take probably 2 weeks, is my estimate, if not more. I mean, it depends on if I start skipping out on videos to really start grinding it. Depends on if I start streaming the process as well as to whether or not I get this done in a more timely manner. So, yeah. Ultimately, I started in on it a little bit later than I should have because I was waiting to see, like, oh, okay, is the NHL going to continue? And then it became very obvious that the regular season wasn't going to continue. And again, it just kind of became time to start the editing process. So we'll make the most of it once everything is done and dusted. And in the meantime, for now, again, this series marches onward. Right now, perhaps as expected, we are not good. The problem being that there isn't a whole hell of a lot we can do here to make this team better. There really isn't. I mean, again, right now I only have the ability as the coach to try and make things happen, and that's just not going. There's nothing we can do. We are at Mike's mercy. There is no other way to put it. So instead, we continue on. And again, if there are changes to perhaps make it more interesting for the last season or two, then so be it. We make those changes, and we deal with it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes as Brendan Dillon goes down to injury, which is, or Brandon, I suppose, Brandon, whatever, which is a bit rough. Tyler Johnson also goes down to injury. Yeah, this team is not going to be very good. That is the unfortunate reality here, is that this team is going to be very, very, very bad. It's not going to be great, unfortunately. So Tyler Johnson is back, 13-10-3. You know, it's funny, though, with a record like this, we could actually still make the playoffs because this division sucks. We are somehow in second place, or at least we were. It appears as though we have dropped since with that bad of a record. So, go figure. This could still end up being a very interesting season for that reason. I'm going to just go best lines down in Rockford. If it takes out certain people, so be it. At the end of the day, there really isn't anybody in the system that is extremely important to make sure that they're in the lineup. Let's just go best lines there. And again, we will continue to make the best of it and see what we deal with. As I got to be honest, I was kind of expecting, like, oh yeah, there's going to be a trade. We haven't seen a single trade yet. So that definitely affects, this episode. Because now it's like, oh, okay, we're actually winning games. We're first in the division, which is hilarious. The Red Wings have fired their head coach. But now it's a matter of, okay, what's going to happen? What are the odds that we see a trade here at some point in this month or down the stretch? There could again be another instance of just simply never seeing a trade go down. We have seen that happen before in one of our seasons where we alternated control, and that kind of led to the point where the crowd that was on the side of never take control, that side of things certainly started, that part of the audience certainly started to get a little bit more vocal, because obviously the appeal is, oh, let's see crazy trades and let's see what Mike does. And then when he doesn't do anything, it's like, oh, okay. So this series has been anything but predictable, for better or worse, I have to say. But again, we will continue onward, as again, we are in first place right now over Nashville. We had games at hand. We did very well with said games at hand. We have a 4-point lead. It was 6 before we lost to the Ducks. This is hilarious. I said this team wasn't going to be very good, and now all of a sudden, despite questionable goaltending amongst other issues, we're actually doing well, as William Karlsson has been dealt to Washington. Joachim Blichfeld has been dealt to Buffalo. Buffalo. Oh, God. It's funny. Oh, wow, Vince Dunn to San Jose. I always think, remember, earlier this year, where Dwayne from Buffalo, the dude who went on that crazy radio rant, remember when that was a story? Remember when David Ayers was a story? Doesn't that seem like years ago at this point? But whenever I think of Buffalo now, I think of that dude's rant about, the knockoff jerseys that alumni wore on ice one time. And man, I don't know, it just came to mind, and I'm like, Jesus, it is the middle of May. We should be witnessing the Bruins nearly make it to the Stanley Cup final for the second year in a row, this time with a better result. That's what would have happened. And there is a legitimate chance Mike isn't going to make a single trade. Mike did not make a single trade. But we have a team that has 40 wins already. As I mentioned just a few short minutes ago, this series has been unpredictable, for better or worse. It has been impossible at times to judge how this is going to go. Yet, here we are. It's ridiculous, but here we are. 44 wins, 5 points clear atop the division. It's going to be very interesting to see how the final few deals go. Brant Clark goes down to injury for a week, losing our top defenseman. I expected to start seeing losses. We ended up beating St. Louis, as we have clinched a playoff spot. Just when you think this team is going to be terrible, we have clinched a playoff spot. We might be without Calle Jarnkrok for the start of the playoffs, but all in all, here we are. We're going back to the postseason. 52 wins. This offense is just stupid. Let's just go assistant GM best roster just to save time. That is a President's Trophy potential season. We are the best team in the Western Conference. Did we just win the President's Trophy. We didn't. The New York Rangers beat us by 2 points. Okay then, Gabe, let's calm down. Let's take a look at how this went down, because good God, 113 wins. Nashville and Winnipeg will play one another. We're going to be taking on Calgary. San Jose will play Edmonton. Vancouver will play Anaheim. In the Atlantic, Florida will play Toronto. Ottawa will take on Carolina. The Rangers will play Philadelphia. And the Devils will play the Blue Jackets. We finished as the second best team in the NHL. Goals for per game, along with the Rangers, at an astonishing 4.17. Our goals against per game somehow was bottom 10 despite our defense and goaltending concerns. Our power play was at 26%, fourth best in the league. Our penalty kill was at 79%, which was meh. So clearly we're a glass cannon. We have our top six, and we live and die off that top six. There you go. Gabe Metropole at 119 points, 60 goals, 117 points for Kirby Dach, 103 points for Ned Eakin, Braden Point with 81, Strome with 79, DeBrincat with just 53 points, but 27 goals. He might not have been on the power play, which is insane. Zion Niebeck was on the power play and scored 52 goals. Okay, so clearly we just have to get DeBrincat onto the power play and we'll be fine. Calle Ehrenkirk put up 36 points, only 26 for Zacharias. Honestly, the fourth line did pretty well in terms of putting up points. Bizarre. A very bizarre season. 63 points for Clark. Dillon and Boqvist both did well. I mean, a plus 40 for Adam Boqvist this year. And then for the goaltenders, I mean, they both suck. Samu Pikkarainen's probably going to be our starter heading into the postseason. What I want to know from you in the comment section of this video is if this series continues, because we could put an early end to it, get a couple more seasons out of Los Angeles perhaps, which if you didn't see yesterday's episode of that series, it took a very interesting turn. But what I want to know, knowing that it's going to be a couple weeks before I can start a new series, what would you prefer to see from this series moving forward? Or do you think it'd just be better to call it quits after this next postseason? I'm good with either, to be honest. I'm good with either. But if we do continue this, we need to think of in what way are we going to continue it. Is it interesting enough to just have Mike have control? Because, hey, the top six is still together, and as a result, we're still just running the league right now. I want to know, what is the best way, in your opinion, that this series could continue if you think it should? Next episode, we go into the postseason. There is a chance, don't hold me to this, that we might just sim the entire postseason if we keep going. We might speed run it a little bit. Let me know what you think. But the Chicago Blackhawks are the top team in the West. Don't let your memes be dreams, kids. I will see you in the next one. What even is this series? How the hell did this team win 54 games